Hey, what a God! It is beautiful outside. If you haven't been outside, it's kind of cool out, and boy, it's just the weather is amazing. Hey, welcome. This is the Ask the Experts show. We're on every Monday and Thursday from 6 to 7 drive time, and we do our show live, not like most of these pre-recorded shows. We are live, and we bring you the top experts in South Florida. So you know, when we have someone on our show and you need an expert, you need someone to represent you, that we have the best of the best. And tonight's show, this topic for tonight's show was one of the biggest topics requested by listeners. We're doing our estate planning show tonight. Oh, by the way, just throw in tomorrow night at 7 p.m. We have our political show. But tonight we have with us, she's an author. She's not only an attorney, she is an author too, that she just happened to do in her spare time. This is a very busy lady, trust me. Let's welcome attorney Bernita Williams. Hi, Miss
Good
Williams.
evening. Hi, how are you?
I got to tell you something. I love your energy. And you know what? The way you talk to the listeners is the way you talk to your clients. You make sure
Yes,
they understand, and you don't have to feel stupid around Vernita. She's going to make sure, and she's so sure you're going to understand. You even wrote a book, several,
yes, several.
which we're going to talk
And I
about
have
tonight.
some other resources that are not books, but they are smaller and very, very helpful to a lot of people. You know,
Well,
we're going to talk about tonight a checklist of 25 things you need to do to get your affairs in order. I know it's the Christmas holidays, and I know this is not the list that you want to do right now. You got your Christmas list and you're buying your Christmas gifts. So, Merry Christmas, everybody. Happy New Year.
yes.
And this checklist that I'm going to share with you tonight is probably the kind of thing you're telling yourself, well, I'm going to do that in January.
Yeah, it's right. People make in December they start making resolutions, and this would be a great resolution to get your affairs in order. Especially with you know what with this pandemic, we never know what's going to happen. You know, it's really sad. I mean, we could be here today, and I mean, I had COVID, and I was worried. And you've got to have your affairs in order, and that's what we're going to talk about tonight. Your list of 25 things tonight. And I'm telling you, you ought to go get a pen and paper and write these down because every one of them are as important as the other.
That's correct. Get a pen and paper, and then if you don't want to get a pen and paper, you can call me at 786-831-9483, and I will email you this list. If you just call me or text me at that number and say, I want the list, I'll know what you're talking about. Call me 786-831-9483. But I want to share with you the list is 25 things, and these are things that I discovered as a practicing attorney that people really need to have available. If anything were to happen to you, if you were to get sick, if you were to pass away, your next of kin really have enough stress dealing with the situation than to have to deal with not being able to find things. It's very hard on people when they can't find the last will or testament or can't find the passwords to all your accounts. So I created a list, and it's designed for you to do one item at a time so that you don't really get overwhelmed. And this list is organized in 4 categories. So category 1 is a list of things in the estate planning category. Because whenever you think about get your affairs in order, most people think, well, that means I need to write a will. But that's not the only thing you need to do. So category 2 is the insurance category. Some things you need to do in that category. Category 3 is financial records. There are some financial records you need to do. And then category 4 is the personal organization category. Things that don't fit in the other categories, but things that you definitely need to write down and give to your next of kin.
So
So I
it's
want to share with
25
you.
things broken into 4 different categories.
That's correct. So all of the people who are listening and who are saying, I'm getting in the Christmas spirit, I'm getting my eggnog, I'm making my shopping list, I'm getting ready to have my Christmas gathering. During the pandemic, you're supposed to have a really, really small gathering, it's supposed to be very
Yeah.
small. Remember that? And remember your social distancing and remember to wear your mask and all of that. And I know you're going to need this list at the beginning of the year when you start carrying out all the resolutions that you made, right?
This is the way to do it. And
This is the way to
and
do
we
it.
just had someone write us again, how do I get the 25 list? So
Okay,
let's
you
tell
get
them
the
again.
25 list by simply calling 786-831-9483. You can call that number or you can text that number and simply give me your email and just say, send me the list. And we will email you the list. And before the new year, you will have your list and you will know what things you want to start working on. So now, let me share with you some of the things that fit under the estate planning category. And the first category is actually estate and business succession planning. Because if you own a business, there are a couple of things you may need to do that a person who doesn't own a business will not have to worry about. So item number one on this checklist is, of course, make a will. Make a will. If you have a will, consider updating your will. In fact, you need to look at your will at least once a year to make sure that you still want to do what's in there. Okay, the next item is write a memo, which is a separate document from the will. And I recommend writing a memo because if you have small items like figurines, books, jewelry, paintings, things like that, you don't want to put all these tiny little items in your last will and testament and make all these different people be involved in court proceedings simply because you gave them some Tupperware or simply because you gave them a piece of jewelry. Somebody you gave a piece of jewelry or you gave the painting off the wall shouldn't be coming to a hearing about who's going to get your property. So write a memo that says who gets all those tiny little items. Another thing that's on
That's
the list is
legal, Bernita. That memo will be legal, though. Considered a
that
legal document.
memo is legal. It is called a separate memorandum. It should be executed with the same formality that your last will and testament is executed. But it is not something that is submitted to the court because the purpose is to keep all these people with the smaller personal items that you may be giving to them in your estate plan from having to be involved in court proceedings. I handled a probate case for somebody who had a will that had everything in the house. Give the forks and the spoons to Sally, and give the Tupperware to Mary, and give the gun collection to John. And because all of these names and different people were in the will, I was required to invite them to everything. Although they were not getting property, like real property, but they were getting something and they were considered beneficiaries. So every time I did something, I had to involve them. So make sure you do those smaller items in a memorandum. Now, let me tell you a couple of other things that should go in the estate planning section of your checklist. Do a durable power of attorney to name who will handle your business and personal affairs if you can. A couple of the other things, and I don't want to spend all the time in this category, but some of the other things are determine a guardian for your minor children if you have children who are less than 18. They need to have a guardian listed in your will so that if anything happens to you, you will know who is the person responsible for taking care of them. Some of the other things include, for instance, in this category,
Vernita,
if you have a business,
Vernita, let me just ask. We just had someone text us. Who should keep the will?
who should keep the will? Well, I've evolved in that area over the years. I recommend first and foremost that you have two original copies of the will because it's been my experience that the person who is named personal representative in the will should really be the person who has the original because they are the ones who will have to do something about the will if the one who wrote the will passes away. So the personal representative should have the will. But guess what? Over the years in my practice, I've discovered people do funny things with wills, especially if they don't like what it says. So many times I've had original wills just disappear because
Wow.
somebody knew where it was, they knew what it said, and they didn't like what was in there. So the will would just disappear. So the poor little distraught family member who knows there was a will, they may even know what it said, will call my office and say, I know it was a will, and I believe you were the attorney. Did you do a will? And I can confirm, yes, I did a will. But heretofore, I only had a copy. And if you only have a copy of a will, the court will assume that you only have a copy because the person who drafted the will destroyed the original because they really didn't intend to go by that anymore. So you have big problems when there's only a copy around. So now I've evolved and I think you should have two originals executed.
Okay.
And the original should go to the personal representative because that's the one responsible for carrying out your wishes. And then let the attorney keep one original. So when the original with the personal representative disappears, the attorney can say, I have an executed original.
Okay. So can you do the
You see?
if you're handling if you're the power of attorney, you can handle have keep the will too.
Yes, if you are power of attorney, you can keep the will. But now, you know what? I always talk to family members about who is the personal representative
Right.
for the estate versus who has power of attorney. People don't always want to appoint the same person for those positions, and sometimes it creates conflict. Like if you had a power of attorney who was large and in charge before somebody passes away, I mean, they're reigning supreme, they're doing things. And then all of a sudden, when they pass away, that power of attorney becomes null and void. And now the person who will now carry the baton is the personal representative. If it's not the same person, can you imagine the conflict
Wow.
with somebody who was in charge who's no longer in charge? So all of these things need to be discussed, when meeting with the attorney. So one of the categories, the first category is the estate planning category. And under that category, write a will, do a medical power of attorney, a durable power of attorney, a number of things. You may even consider a trust. You need to figure out who should be the guardians for minor children. You need to make sure that the beneficiaries on your bank accounts are not different from whatever you're saying about your bank accounts in your last will and testament. That often creates a big, big problem. Um, in the estate planning checklist section, plan for the payment of funeral expenses. A lot of times people have money, but nobody can get to the money because the money in the bank may not have a beneficiary. That is a big problem because if a person is trying to do a memorial service and they can't get to the money in the bank, and the bank is saying, sorry for your loss, but you're not on this account, you then have to hire a probate attorney. Probate attorney may have to file an emergency motion just to get you the money for burial. Some funeral homes won't do the burial without a sure way of getting their money. So I have a checklist that the first section is the estate planning section, but it's not all estate planning. Now, my second category is the insurance planning section. That's a different section that has a different list. On the top of that list is buy life insurance for yourself if you're not independently wealthy to the extent that your estate could handle paying for final arrangements. And also, when I say buy life insurance, you know if you're going to be responsible for somebody else if they pass away. So you need to figure out whether they have life insurance. I remember before my father passed away many years ago, my dad used to tell me, well, if anything happened to me, I want you to take the insurance and bury me, and I want you to give the rest of the money to my wife, and that'll be good. My daddy didn't have one dime of life insurance. But because I guess it was so embarrassing at his age to not have these things in place, he used to tell me that. Now, I knew my father, and I knew he did not have life insurance. But if I had relied upon that when he passed away, I would have had to pay for that out of my pocket. Now, I maintained life insurance on my father, and when
Ah,
he told me all this stuff that he was telling me, I just let him fantasize and feel good about himself and tell me to bury him with the life insurance and to let his wife live out of the rest. But I knew he didn't have anything. So now
life insurance
I'm
is not
taking
that
that.
expensive, is it?
Well, here's the thing. Life insurance, the cost depends upon your age,
Age?
your medical condition. It depends upon what kind of insurance you're getting. If you're getting term, it's going to be a lot less expensive than if you're getting whole life. So now some people find themselves, or they find that the relative whose life insurance they're concerned about, they can't, maybe they're uninsurable at that point. So if you find that the person you're going to be responsible for is uninsurable, you probably need to look into getting a pre-need burial policy.
I got.
So the top item on this list under insurance is get life insurance, and get life insurance for yourself as well as somebody you're going to be responsible for. Some of the other items include getting medical insurance, getting long-term care insurance. The likelihood that you're going to need long-term care insurance, some statistical reports indicate is greater than you having to use your auto insurance, you
Wow.
filing an auto insurance claim.
Wow.
So there are things in the insurance area. Get life insurance. Of course, you need health insurance, long-term care insurance, and if you own a home, homeowners insurance. And so there are specific recommendations about the types of insurance that you
What
need.
about
Now,
disability? Do you tell your clients
di-
they should get disability?
disability insurance is good, um,
But
very, very good. The likelihood, according to statistics, that you will have to use disability insurance is often greater than you're having to use your other insurance, like homeowners, and for some people, even auto insurance. Although a lot of times people don't think about disability insurance, it sure does come in handy if you get in a car accident and you're temporarily disabled. Let's say you got in an accident, you couldn't work for 6 months. Uh, Pay close attention when you get the disability insurance to what the elimination period is. You know, the period of time that you have to go without getting any money. I
right.
call it the period when they eliminate the money you got. That's that's how I that's how I define elimination period. But yes, disability insurance, life insurance, health insurance, homeowners if you have a home, renters insurance if you don't have a home but you're renting. So take care of the insurance matters. One major insurance related incident without insurance could wipe out all of your savings.
Bernita, do you see a lot of your clients that come to you don't even understand about long term care and disability and life insurance?
Well, a lot of people know it exists. And usually when they come to me, they're coming to me for estate planning. So I end up talking to them about life insurance. And that is why, let me put in a little plug for my book. That is why the last chapter in my book is a chapter called Do You Need Life Insurance? And that chapter talks about 4 things you need to know about your life insurance because some people have insurance, but they don't know what they need to know about it.
Right,
They don't know they need to know whether it's term or whole life. They don't need to know that if it's term, the term probably ends when you are now uninsurable and can't get any more
right.
insurance. You know,
When it's
they
too
don't
late.
know. Yeah, they don't know that some insurances you're going to have to pay more of a premium, and there's a point when the premium is going to increase. They don't know to look at whether it's regular insurance or whether it's accidental insurance. Accidental insurance will only pay if you died from an accident
Okay.
within a certain period of time from the accident. So, yeah, they come to me and they don't know about insurance. So in my chapter in my book, I have a book called Make a Will, Do It Right, or the one you don't like will end up with all your stuff. And you can go to my website. You can go to my website and you can get this book. Go to vcwlaw.com. That is vcwlaw.com. And there you can purchase either a hard copy or an ebook. Make a Will, Do It Right, or the one you don't like will end up with all your stuff. And when you look in this book, the last chapter, chapter 8, Do You Need Life Insurance, tells you the basic things you need to know about life insurance and the top 10 mistakes that people normally make concerning life insurance. So now let's go back to our checklist. Our checklist has the estate planning category, things that fit under that category. It has financial records category. It has an insurance category, and it has the personal organization category. Now, I didn't tell you anything yet about the financial records. Under financial records, there's not that many things listed. You need to make a list of the people who owe you money. If you were to leave this world, the fact that you left this world does not take them off the hook. They still need to pay your estate,
Okay.
but your estate cannot collect if you don't have in writing what is owed to you and you haven't reduced it to like a simple contract. You really, really need to write down who owes you money, especially if it's a large sum of money. You need to write down everything that you owe because if somebody is trying to handle your affairs, it's difficult to handle your affairs if they don't know who owes you and they don't know who you owe. This is extremely important information that simply should be listed in a list. The other thing that needs to happen is
Excuse me,
you
Bernita.
need to list,
We just got a text from a listener.
yes,
They want to know if that includes child support. Like if you're,
that definite
go ahead.
that definitely includes child support
Okay.
because now I've handled some estates that had to pay child support that was not paid by the person who died. And I've handled some estates where there was an unpaid child support claim that was due to the person who died. So, yes, it includes child support,
Okay.
most certainly. Most certainly. Another thing on this financial records, write down who owes you, write down who you owe, and write down your banking information. List all of your accounts, the account number, not just bank accounts, but investment accounts, because all money is not in bank accounts as cash.
Right.
Sometimes people have stocks, bonds, things like that. So all of those accounts need to be written down so that a person does not have to look through bags and bags of paper just to figure out what's going on.
Okay. That's good to know.
Okay? And then if you want this list now, you can call me or you can text me at 786-831-9483. You can get this list free of charge if you text me or call me at 786-831-9483 and simply say, I'd like the list. All you have to call it is the list. I'll know what you're talking about. And give me your email address, and I will be happy to send you the list. Now, I have 4 resources. This list is actually a part of my estate planning decision action roadmap system. But I'm going to take this list out of the system, which you can purchase the whole system that helps you walk through an estate plan. But I'm going to extract this from the system and give it to you just for you being a listener
Nice.
of tonight's program.
What
So
about
call
the
me and I'll give you the list.
personal organization category? Did you list any of
Personal
that?
organization category is a new category that I included because of our passwords. You know, we have passwords for everything now.
Ah,
The bank
yes.
account, we got passwords for the Instagram account, for the Facebook account, we got passwords for Twitter, we got passwords for everything that you buy, every password for Amazon. So everybody now wants you to be a member and have a password. So can you imagine if something were to happen to you and nobody knew how to access anything? So on your personal organization list, I have item number 20, list your personal data, including social security number, driver's license number, date of birth, names and telephone numbers of family members. Now, whoever you give this to has got to be very, very, very close. Very close. Also, item number 21, if you have a safe deposit box, list another person who can access that box in the bank's records and give that person a key to the box. It's real tough on family members when you got a safe deposit box and they don't know which bank it is. And when they find out which bank, they don't have a key. And when they go to the bank and say, I want to get in, the bank is going to say, we don't have a key. If we had a key, it wouldn't be a safe deposit box. Then they're going to say, go to court and get a court order. So you really want to avoid that. And then you need to list all of your passcodes for all these different accounts. And you probably have to change the passcodes every now and then. So those are some of the things that should be done. I couldn't give you all 25, but if you want
But you'll
all
be
25,
back next month. Bernita will
I'll
be
be
back
back.
next month. Give everybody the phone number one more time before we get off.
Phone number 786-831-9483.
Call her tomorrow. Get your business taken care of. And we'll be back with you tomorrow night at 7. Thanks, Bernita.
Thank you. Merry Christmas.
Thanks for listening to the Ask the Expert Show, featuring interviews with local experts in the fields of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. Call our office at 888-574-6999 to become one of our experts on the show. And tune in again next week for more Ask the Experts with